What is up, my fellow mobile gamers? In today's video, we got our best guide for the Gear Raid 1. Like and subscribe for more missing movie content. Gear Raid 1, this is the area where you can go ahead and get your 2-piece sets. It's going to be a weapon along with a chest piece, armor piece. There's a bunch of different random sets that you can have drop, and as you go ahead and progress through the stages, you'll get access to the better set gear pieces, along with higher rarity items as well. For Gear Raid 1, there's like 2 different builds that you can kind of go and get away with. The recommended heroes are going to be AoE mages, and that is because if we take a look at the map, the enemies that we face mostly have ridiculously high defense and their magic resistance is not that high. When it comes to epic mages, these are 2 that pretty much almost every player should have, and that's going to be Iona. You can also buy her with the $5 pack at the very beginning. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't have her. One of the ones that you definitely want to max out early on. The other one is Marie. She's not necessarily a great damage dealer, but she has a lot of good CC effects because she can slow the enemies and also has that freeze ultimate, which can really come in handy on slowing down those big hordes of enemies. For legendary wise, I mean, if you can get any one of these legendaries, you should be pretty set. One that I got is Zealous. He's really strong for this in particular. He does a ton of AoE damage and also reduces the enemy's magic damage defense as well. So an amazing hero if you can get one of these legendaries. But the main concern with Gear Raid 1 is you can do it 2 different ways. You can either have all damage dealers, mages, and a mixture of marksmen as well, and just let these 2 walls tank the hits. Or you can go a different build where you're going to be putting out some tanks in the front line to kind of soak up some of the damage and take the pressure off of your walls while also utilizing really strong healers such as Lightlock and Dolores. So let's just go over like the basic placement right now. I'm going to have this just run slow because I just want to go over the placement stuff. So you got your 2 walls and you pretty much want to defend this. Now when you get to those later stages, when you get to like stage 15 and up, the enemies are almost always going to break down this first wall. It's inevitable because they're so strong that there's no way for you not to defend this. So really at that point, you have to understand that the second wall is going to be your make or break it, whether you kind of succeed. The other thing is you have to be careful with where you go ahead and employ your heroes. If you put your heroes on one of the tiles that is closest to the enemies right here, this one, these 3 that are the inner area or on this side, you are going to take damage. You're going to have the monsters that come out and they blow up and they do a bunch of AoE damage, and they're just going to do damage to all the heroes that you have on these ones in the inside. So the best bet is to try and keep the ones that you want to have protected, like your strongest heroes or the heroes that you just don't want to have take any damage. Put those in the corner. So that corner right here, the back corner over here, or even this middle one right here as well is really important. The other thing is you're going to notice that if you're going to go the tank build, you want to make sure you put your tank wherever you see the boss going, because the boss is going to focus on the tank and the tank will just block the boss. So that way the boss won't progress to that second wall. So you'll see for this instance that the boss went down this first lane right here. So I would have went ahead and I would have dropped my tank right here as opposed to that other lane. The other thing that I also want to mention is if you do have someone like Zealous or one of those expensive legendary heroes that costs a lot, you pretty much want to drop them first before any other hero, because when you first start off, you have a lot of cost points. In this instance, like I would go ahead and I drop my Zealous. I'd put him like here or here. You can pretty much choose whichever one you want to do. If I want to keep him protected, I'd put him here. And we would just go ahead and speed this up. And then the other thing that I want to do is I also want to get out my Iona as fast as possible because she's my other big mage damage dealer. There are certain fighter heroes that you can kind of put out depending on if you have them strong enough or not. Zillatu is one that's really strong, as well as the Valkyrie, just because Valkyrie has the ability to instantly revive a hero who gets destroyed. So kind of pairing her up with one of your tanks as well is really strong. So you put her out, and then once one of your tanks takes so much damage that it gets destroyed, she'll instantly just revive him back. So then you have another free tank out on the battlefield. You pretty much need a healer no matter what, but again, depending on which style you choose to go for, you can either have like a traditional healer like Vortex or Elowen if you just happen to get super lucky, just kind of any regular hero. But the best two healers are going to be Dolores. She's not only going to heal your heroes, but she's also going to be supporting them as well. You'll see 50% chance to increase the hero's rage by 300. We also have the fact that implies 40% inspiration is going to go ahead and increase their attack power. So you pretty much just want to position her next to the heroes that are going to be doing the most damage, so you get a huge ridiculous boost from her. She's one that's very, very strong for Gear Raid 1, and the other one is going to be Lightlock, and this is if you're trying to go for that tank build. You're going to throw out a huge defensive tank with lots of defensive power and lots of HP, because Lightlock also does splash damage while he heals. The only thing is you need to position him properly so that he is only healing your tank. And also he has a passive which goes ahead and increases his attack every time he keeps healing the same unit. Some really good tanks to use. There's some really good epics that you can use for that strategy. The first one is going to be this guy right here, Oleg. He's really, really strong defensively. His ultimate ability goes ahead and he just does a defensive stance for 25 seconds. And so he just becomes a brick wall and just eats shots from the enemies. So he really helps block off those walls and protect them. Really amazing tank that you can use. Another one that you can use is this guy right here. This is Ardeth, another one who has amazing defensive powers. And he also goes ahead and inflicts vulnerability magic damage on all enemies. A really good legendary one, if you happen to get him, is going to be the lion guy right here, Regalis. He has an ultimate ability which goes ahead and increases his max HP, and he also shares 40% of the damage dealt to allies surrounding him. So if you have two tanks in the front line, you can pop this and he will soak up the damage that the other tank is taking. So really strong, amazing legendary. For the gear sets, you're going to want to put on the Styx gear set, the 3-piece. It's going to give your heroes additional AoE damage plus 18%, which is really important for Gear Raid 1 because it's all about doing as much AoE damage as possible, mostly magic damage. Another thing that can play a huge role in your lineup is making sure you have a leader. Having a leader is going to give you a tremendous amount of extra boost to your stats. If you're having a really hard time struggling to pass a level, even if you have a rare hero who's not leveled up, if they are a leader, go ahead and throw them in your lineup. I have a perfect example right here. I have Nero. He's a rare leader that I don't even have leveled up, but he goes ahead and he buffs the cultist type heroes. I have him in there just strictly to buff my Zealous and my Iona, and because of that, I was able to go ahead and complete a stage that I was struggling to complete before. So leaders are very important, even if you don't use them. That is it. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the video. Stay happy, stay safe. We'll do Gear Raid 2 and Gear Raid 3 very soon. Peace.